Pig nutrition and feeding. Pork and processed pork products such as bacon, ham, and sausages are growing in demand by consumers in many countries, including Uganda. As a result, small family farms raise pigs and earn a living by selling piglets, breeding animals, and pigs for slaughter. However, housing your pigs for all or part of the day and choosing the correct feeds will allow them to grow quickly without putting on too much fat. But before talking about feeding, a word about water. With pigs, feed intake will be reduced by low water consumption, so it is essential to provide enough clean drinking water to ensure good growth. Clean the water through thoroughly before adding new water. Clean water must be continuously available.
Pigs drink a lot of water, require a lot of water so that it is able to grow well. Unfortunately, pigs also love water for purposes of cooling their bodies, so the tendency for them to wallow inside water points, and while they're there also to pour dung and urine is very high. Unfortunately, the pigs are also sensitive. They dung in the water, they urinate in the water, and then immediately they don't want to drink that water. So it's extremely important that if you have water troughs, that you're frequently checking if the water is clean, and if dirty, that you drain it, you thoroughly clean, also including soap, so that you kill off any dangerous microorganism activity in the water, and then replace the water so that as they eat, they're able to drink.
Now, let's turn to feed. As feed is the largest expenditure in keeping pigs, let us see how we can get it right whilst trying to keep costs down. Pigs need a varied diet. They will naturally eat grass, roots, fruit, berries, seeds, and even insects and small animals. But to maximize growth rates, they do need more concentrated feed.
If you're using processed feed, different formulations are made for different ages of the pigs. So you have a weaner formulation for piglets that have just been weaned. You have a fattener formulation for pigs that are being prepared for being fattened for meat. You also have formulations for pigs while they are lactating and while they are pregnant as well, which means that they are able to have enough to feed the piglets while in their womb, but also to look after them while the mother is lactating.
It is important to give a balanced feed to ensure that the pig receives a good mixture of energy, protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Pork is mainly protein and fats, so you need to make sure you supply enough protein in the feed. Protein-rich plant feeds include soybean meal, cottonseed cake, sunflower cake, and groundnut cake. Part of the protein in the diet can also come from an animal source such as blood, meat, and bone meal, but never feed uncooked blood, meat, or offal to pigs. You can also feed fish meal, but keep this less than 5% of the diet, as it can affect the flavor of the meat. Feeding pigs on only bought-in concentrate feed is too expensive for many farmers, or simply not available. So, you can use locally available feeds to supplement part or all of the expensive concentrates.
It's possible to provide feed made from locally available materials within the farm. The pigs are herbivorous, so they will eat anything from leaves of other plants that are growing on the farm, particularly potato vines, matoke leaves. They also eat a lot of grass, peelings of food, including droppings that are coming from other animals on the pig farm, for example, chickens if you have those. That way of feeding the pigs is cheap. It is much cheaper than buying processed food.
You can incorporate a variety of greens and vegetables into the diet, including young grass cuttings, sugarcane tops, and stems as long as they are cut, and whole plants like amaranthus. Sweet potato vines have a high protein content and are therefore good to use in pig feed. Root tubers like potatoes and cassava also provide good feed alternatives. If you feed cassava, take care not to feed any poisonous varieties, the same ones as for people. Cut the cassava into small chips. You can preserve surplus feed as dried sweet potato and cassava chips and as dried vegetable leaves for use during periods of scarcity and drought.
Pigs are not fussy, they will eat almost anything. The locally available materials mean that you're able to cut on the costs of feeding, and then those costs then translate into increased profits for you to be able to further develop the farming business.
Food waste and leftovers from schools and restaurants can be fed to pigs, but they must be thoroughly cooked to avoid any infection being transmitted to the pigs.
Ebyenda by'enkoko byenkulaze tubifuna mu katale balinga abayina lufula ku katale bwe basalira enkoko buli lunaku. N'ebikuta by'amatooke era nabyo mu katale bibaayo bingi bawaata emmere bano abaagala okutwala nga mpaate gye tubifuna naye nga bw'omanyi eby'ennaku zino teri kyabwereere ebiwata ebyo era ekutiya bagikuguza 3,000 n'ow'ebyenda omwezi aga nti ojja kuleetayo emitwalo 2 oba 3 okusinziira bwe mba mwogedde naye buli lunaku naaba nga asobola okufunirayo ka baketi. So bwe tutyo bwe tufuna ebintu ebyo kizibu nnyo embizi okufuna obulwadde kubanga oba obifumbyeko n'obiziwanga biri fresh ne bwe mubaamu akuuka kaba kakoze eki kisinga bino ebimera olusi by'onojja ku woteeri n'oleeta buleesi muno n'oyuwa kyova olaba embizi z'abasinga zirwala naye zino kiba kizibu tumala wano emyaka egiwera nga towulidde oba musujja oba ki. Ebirala by'eggambye eby'olweggulo byo tufuna bigabeji bye bajja ku mboga ebikutakuta bwe bityo ne nakatyono aba ayagala okwonooneka gwe basuula mu katale katugeze nakasero kati ebyo tubikuŋŋaanya byo byabwereere ne tubireeta n'ebiwogo tufuna we batunda muwogo ne tufuna bye basudde ne tubanga tubijjayo olweggulo ne tubanga tusobola oziyiiramu.
Some farmers also use chicken droppings in the feed as chickens do not digest protein in their feed well, so the droppings are relatively high in protein. The chicken droppings should be dried before being used and preferably cooked with other ingredients to help prevent any diseases being transmitted to the pigs. The disadvantage of not using bought-in concentrates is that you will not know the exact protein, energy, vitamin and mineral content of the feed. If your pigs are foraging outside all the time or kept in fenced outdoor areas during the day, they are unlikely to get all the nutrients they need to grow fast and reproduce well. If they are tethered or housed for part of the time, you can provide some concentrated feed morning and evening. This also gives an opportunity to give mineral and vitamin supplements to the animals to help keep them healthy. Pigs need iron in their diet. Many farmers mix some anthill soil in the feed as a way to provide iron. Now that we know what pigs need in their diet, we need to make sure they have sufficient quantity. Depending on the availability of labor, pigs may be fed once, twice, or even 3 times a day. Seruga puts his cooked mash down in the morning of the pigs to feed on during the day, and then puts the other feed down in the evening.
Embizi zino nga bwe nagambye nti ziriira wamu, okuliira ewamu ekituyamba nti emmere emu bwekoowa nga yeebaka nebadde terina maanyi nayo ng'ejja ekola ki, edda ku mmere eri eyasigaddewo n'ekola ki, n'erya paka lwe tweramu olw'eggulo ng'emmere eweddemu. Naye ng'embizi tewanse ekiyumba kino okiraba si kizimbe, olubaawo ndowooza twakuba lumu, naye embizi tesobola kubuukamu n'edda bweru kubanga awo we zaamanyiira bwe yagala ekyokulya ng'eyimuka ng'ekisangawo ng'eryako ng'eddamu nga yeebaka.
Lactating sows should have their feed split into 3 if they are housed continually, because of the amount they need to eat to keep healthy and provide enough milk for their piglets. Pigs will eat their feed either wet or dry. Giving wet feed results in very little feed being wasted. Feed requirements vary depending on the age, size, breed, and reproductive state of your pigs. Boers may be fed between 1 or 3 kilograms of concentrate, depending on their body condition. Growing pigs should be fed up to 2.5 kilograms of concentrates per day. Closely monitoring how your pigs are growing is really important, so you can adjust the feed if necessary. This is particularly true if you are not feeding concentrates. Larger farms may have a weigh scale, but weigh bands are cheap and very useful to check exactly how well your pigs are growing.
Weigh bands are used to track the rate of growth and progression of the pig from the time it is a piglet until it reaches maturity. Maturity, particularly for farmers who are focused on rearing pigs for meat. And if you're using the different pig formulations for the different ages of the pigs. Scientifically, it has been, there's a scientific calculation for weight for age, which is basically the milestones in terms of weight that the pig should hit on its way to maturity.
For sows and gilts, increase their feed 1 to 2 weeks before mating to increase their ovulation rate. Maintain this higher level of feeding for 3 weeks after mating to increase the number of piglets that will be born, then return to normal levels of feeding. During the last month of pregnancy, increase the concentrate supplement feed so there will be enough milk for the piglets. This feed should have higher levels of protein, vitamins, and minerals. Once the sow has given birth, she will need extra feed and water. You must supply sufficient feed to keep her healthy and enable her to provide enough milk for her piglets. The amount will vary depending on the number of piglets she has. Check on the sow regularly to make sure she is keeping healthy. If she is too hungry, she may eat the piglets. Within 7 days of birth, you can start to provide the piglets concentrate feed in a separate area that only they can access. This is known as creep feed, and the feed should be continuously available. The feed must be high in protein and easily digested. This creep feed will supplement the milk they receive from the sow and will help them grow well. Gradually change from creep feed to a winner feed, which has less protein than creep feed. Increase the amount of feed per piglet until by the time they are weaned at 8 to 12 weeks, they are eating around 1 kilogram per piglet per day. After weaning, you will need to gradually increase the amount of concentrate feed the piglets are given from 2 to 4 kilograms as they increase in size and weight. The sow's feed after weaning should be reduced to 1 kilogram per day for 3 to 4 days to dry up her milk. Some also restrict the water intake for these few days by making it not available all the time. If you are putting feed on the ground, then make sure it is on a clean area away from where the pigs dung and urinate.
Kakati emmere eno nga bw'olaba tugiyiyeemu tugiyiwamu omulundi gumu eno enfumbe ku ssaawa 4-5 paka ssaawa 10-11 ne tuddamu ne tweramu kati ne tufunayo ebiwata ebibisi obulungi ebipya n'ebiwogowogo era bye tunoonya mu butale kati ne tuzongera ne tuziyiramu ekiringa ekyeggulo paka ate era nkya.
The alternative to feeding on the ground is to feed in troughs.
It is important to have feeding troughs as a part of the design of your pigsty, so that the pigs have a particular place in which they feed. The idea here is that the feed should not be mixed with dung and other waste and increase the chances and the likelihood of the pigs getting sick.
If you are feeding in troughs, it is important to have enough feed troughs for the animals. So, provide enough troughs or trough space for each pig so they can easily eat without fighting or bullying smaller pigs. As the pigs grow, you must increase the trough space available. Always remember to remove leftover feed and clean the feed troughs before putting fresh feed in so as to avoid contamination. Let's review what we have learned. Make sure clean drinking water is continuously available. All this will reduce the amount of feed the pigs will eat. Give enough balanced feed to supply all nutrients for the pig's requirements: protein, energy, vitamins, and minerals. Remember that feed requirements vary depending on the age, size, breed, and reproductive state of your pigs. Monitor the growth of your pigs both visually and by using a weigh band or weigh scale for accuracy. Pigs will eat their feed either wet or dry. It is important to provide enough space when feeding to prevent animals fighting and bullying smaller pigs. Remove any leftover feed before adding fresh feed. With locally available cheaper feed sources, you can raise many healthy pigs